From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a huge morning of Mornings LA with another world exclusive on your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. As AOC tells viewers of this channel she's doing a monthly stimulus check for 12 months. Her staffer gives the details to a viewer of this channel. In this recording, we'll go over the incredible details of what's happening across the globe. In less than 5 days, the viewers of this channel have heard from Warren, Wyden, Sanders, Coons, Casey, and now AOC calling for a monthly stimulus check. This is something we have never seen in the history of this channel, and it's happening in a world exclusive today. We'll go over all the incredible messages that viewers are sending about those calls. Then we cut to the big deliciousness of the first 645 pages of that reconciliation bill. Checks of all kinds, like hazard pay, checks for seniors, checks for a new bike, checks for a new vehicle. Unfortunately, there's nothing for an electric surfboard in there, but everything else is all good. Then in cluster number 2, we cut to big money to go to college, money for seniors, money for workers, and $51,000 of MSCs. Did I cover that as well? Wow. Then we cut to cluster number 3, and then the big shocker that no one saw coming, an additional $13 billion landing in your cities and counties and states for rent. It's a huge morning with a world exclusive on your MSCs, under IRS MSCs, under fourth stimulus recon, and $13 billion landing in your cities, counties, and states. The toast is toasted. The butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and we've never had a major recording like this on a Saturday morning of Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend, and thank you for joining me. Hope the weather is good where you are. It is cold. It is very, very cold here along the coast because winter is upon us already in Santa Monica. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, boy, I've never seen a day like this. As AOC staff tells the viewers of this channel, monthly stimulus check and for upwards of a year. Then we'll be cutting to Casey and Ward and Wyden and Sanders and their comments, and then the big shocker, of course, from Elizabeth Warren. Details you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LALATE. These are world exclusives. You ain't going to hear them anywhere. Then we cut to the big reconciliation budget bill. The first 645 pages, you're going to pounce because it's deliciousness. Then we cut to cluster number 2 and cluster number 3, with cluster number 3 written by the president, checks for seniors, checks for workers, and then the big shocker, as an additional $13 billion is available for your cities, counties, and states for rent and utilities on the third stimulus. What happened? This is a massive recording, and this is Mornings LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family that is making history. Thank you for the last 5 days being the biggest 5 days of this channel in nearly 3 months. I think you see what's going on. You are making history, and together we're making history. So subscribe. I want you part of this incredible family. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, with new updated newsletters going out to you daily about this new $13 billion cash infusion. But let's get to the big exciting details and the world exclusive right off the bat. AOC MSC. I like the way it sounds, doesn't it? It sounds deliciousness. Here we go. It comes in from Paul overnight. You're hearing for this for the first time ever on this channel. Today, I called Representative AOC, the House Democrat, of course, spoke to her secretary, advocated for a stimulus check, and was told that according to the Congresswoman, she wants to put in monthly stimulus checks in the $3.5 trillion bill. AOC wants them to be $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 12 months. She assures me she would get it in the bill. Take care. Wow. This all started over 5 days ago, where I told viewers to start picking up the phone after brother Joshua got the message, and then Donnie called, Hurricane Tina called, and then we saw more messages like this, where Senator Warren's office calling for a monthly stimulus check. Let's go over what happened It was nearly 3 weeks ago where I told you Brother Joshua, a longtime viewer of this channel, was told by Bernie Sanders' office he wants to do a monthly stimulus check, $1,000 to $1,400 a month over 4 to 6 months. And I said, make the phone call. And viewers started to make the phone call, first to Bernie Sanders' office, and the domino effect kicked in. It started with Donnie, who made that call and advocated for a stimulus check. He said, I called and spoke to Bernie Sanders' office and spoke to the secretary. I told her, this is what I need. My city needs it. I need it. And they said, okay, Senator Bernie Sanders is doing a fourth stimulus check. Then viewers continued to pick up the phone after that. It came with Hurricane Tina, who picked up the phone and advocated for a stimulus check and was told, they're doing it. They're putting a fourth stimulus check in there from Sanders' office. Then Carolyn Smith on Countdown LALATE made the impassioned advocacy for a fourth stimulus check. I called Bernie Sanders' office, talked to the senator, said, we need help. We need it. People are losing their homes. This is what we need. And she agreed and said, Bernie is putting in a stimulus check. We had Yahya make the phone calls to Wyden, but then out of nowhere came this one. This huge update from Will is a game changer. Will called 3 offices. I spent the yesterday calling Senator Bernie's office, Senator Warren's office, Senator Schumer's, and all 3 secretaries confirmed a fourth stimulus check. He advocated for it. I explained my situation, I need it, and how a fourth stimulus check would make a huge impact. I was told, yes, it's happening. And then comes incredible details about Elizabeth Warren's office. Elizabeth Warren's office asked me what kind of check would be sufficient. I explained I like the American petition. And they said they're on board with that. And they said the Senator Warren is considering $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Bonnie in the live chat this morning said she almost choked on her breakfast when she saw that. She couldn't believe the incredible great news. And then we had Lorica, longtime viewer. She has a fascinating update, which says that Senator Casey's office not only wants to do it, but the whole Senate is now negotiating the amount right now. These are the world exclusives, and this is why you tune into this channel. But let's go right into the first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill. Checks of all kinds, checks for workers, checks for seniors. I'm just excited about this. Really, really big money. I'm going to go over first broadly the items, and then I'll go over the specifics with you across the board. Broadly, the items are hazard pay, money for caring for the seniors, $4,000, money for college students, money for a vehicle, money for a car, money to fix your home, and money for college students. All right, let's go over the specifics of the first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill released. Checks of all kinds. And they are all checks which are not pandemic related. Remember, the first 645 pages of what goes upwards of an 8,000 page bill, nothing has to be pandemic related. It's just in life in general. And the first item, hazard pay. Hazard pay, first introduced this channel in 2020, got into third stimulus by a modification of an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit. What do? They expanded the eligibility and then they increased the price. Well, guess what? They're making this modification for hazard pay for essential workers under third stimulus lifetime. So every year that you work as an essential worker and fall within the zone of eligibility, you get this Earned Income Tax Credit. How about the big shocker, $4,000 a year? This came out of nowhere from Representative Richard Neal, head of the House Ways and Means Committee that authored this for 645 pages. He gets in there a up to $4,000 per year provision if you care for the elderly. Huge for a lot of care providers. So if you have an elderly that you're caring at home, you may qualify for this up to $4,000 per year per person. Then what about the flip side? Yes, if you're caring for young children, the same amount. How about some MSCs, monthly stimulus checks? Absolutely. What about $51,000 of them? Incredible. It's in there. Deliciousness. For a family, this is a lot of money. Families saw in the third stimulus that if you had a child and a low-income community, you can get $300 a month approximately per month. Well, guess what? They're making a lifetime. So if you're a parent of a child, and that child was just newly born, and you're in a low-income household, then you can get upwards of $300 a month per child up to 18 years. This is huge. For every year that you're eligible, and if you're in a low-income household for those 18 years and you have a child, you get up to $300 a month, which is $51,000 per child over that duration. All right, how about money for your home? Yes, if your home is in a low-income community, there is money in this first 645 pages to fix up the house. Stay tuned, because in cluster number 2 and cluster number 3, the next sets of checks, which I'm getting to, there's money in there as well to fix up your home. I'm going to go over that in a second. How about money for college students? Yes, there's money for college students for grants. They're making the Pell Grant now tax-free, and there's new grants, and then grants come directly to you or to the university. Say to cluster number 2, I also have other money for non-college students, for people who just want to get an extra trade education. That's coming up in a second. But how about money for a bike and a car? Yes, there are checks for that as well in here. If you want to buy a new electric bike, the federal government will pick up the price tag for 15% of the purchase price. Huge. What if you need a new car? Well, the federal government will pick up the price tag of up to $7,500 on the purchase price of a new electric vehicle for even personal use. If the car is for business use, then they have a provision for that. It's a little bit even more. And if it's a truck and if it's electric use, it's even more than that. Wow. And then the incredible details of the big monies that are still at hand. That is the first 645 pages of the reconciliation budget bill. But what does this mean? It means I got a lot of other pages still to write up. In cluster number 2 and cluster number 3, I'm going to show you in a second, these are items they've already verbally agreed to do, but they're going over the terms and conditions. For example, they've agreed they're going to do these clusters, they just haven't put them to bill format. So what is this first 645 pages? Very simply, these are the items they said go right up. Democrats are the ones doing the reconciliation, no Republicans. Senate Democrats and House Democrats go over the provisions behind closed doors, on the phone, having a cup of coffee in their offices, not on TV, not on C-SPAN, not on the Senate floor, not on the House floor. You're not going to see them doing it. And when they agree to something, what do you think about the $4,000 to care for the elderly per year? Yeah, I like that. The 15% for the bike? Yeah, that's fine. Go write it. Go write both of them. Once they say go write them, that becomes the first 645 pages. They agreed to them. They're going and writing them. Wow. Incredible. Now, if we thought that was the cusp of the iceberg, it is not. It is just the start, because cluster number 2 gives you a lot more checks. But here, first, is a big surprise, and this no one saw coming. A digression for just a second. $13 billion are landing back in your city, county, and state. Where from? What happened? Federal government this week surprised everyone when Department of Treasury said, you know what, we have another $13 billion for third stimulus. This is huge. Rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance. If you reach out to your city, county, or state anytime in the recent last few months and they said, sorry, we're out of money, guess what? Every state, every county is getting a cash infusion of the $13 billion this last week and this next week. Department of Treasury made the huge announcement. Treasury is happy to provide these state and local governments with these additional resources to help Americans in need of rental assistance. Wow. More about this big money for third stimulus and how you get it coming up later in this video. But let's cut over to that cluster number 2 of checks. Lots of checks, and these are deliciousness. The checks number 2, cluster number 2, starts with expansion of paid family and medical leave. What is paid family and medical leave? Well, let me explain. Paid family leave is, for example, you have to stay home because your spouse is pregnant. Paid medical leave is, for example, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. How much does it pay? A lot. Under third stimulus, they were proposing $1,700 a week if you made $71,000 or more per year. Let's split that in half. Let's say you make $30,000 a year. Then it would be $800 a week. Let's split it in half again. Let's say you make $15,000 a year. Then you would get $400 a week. Huge sums of money. This will be given from the federal government to the employer to be paid to you. Then build up a child care programs. Then expansion of the child care tax credit. Then lots of checks to seniors like dental, vision checks, hearing checks. More about this in the third cluster. And lowering the eligibility age. One of the great ones is weatherization of your home, especially beneficial if the Purple Hawks are above. Weatherization of your home. If you're in an area that's prone to fire, hurricane, or tornado, the federal government will pick up the price tag to weatherize the home. This is in addition to that other provision in the first cluster to rehab homes in low-income communities. Wow. And then comes money, more money for education. Universal pre-kindergarten. So if you want to send that child to pre-kindergarten, federal government will pick up the price tag. And then the one that I particularly like, there's a lot of viewers always saying, I don't understand what LATE's saying. He makes no sense. What language is he talking? Well, now you can go to your local community college and the federal government will pick up the price tag for you to attend and take a course in What the World Does LATE Say 101. Pardon my French. Now the federal government will provide you tuition-free college education. Then there's checks for green energy and more. Wow, we are just getting started. But boy, you have seen how everything has changed now in less than 5 days. When Warren calling for a monthly stimulus check to go over 6 months or longer, Sanders calling 4 to 6 months, AOC, you're hearing for the very first time in this recording, calling for an MSC IRS check that mirrors the House bill, and then Wyden, Casey, Coons, and Schumer. How many is that? You're doing incredible details and incredible work. More about that in a second. But in the second half of this video, we'll be going over the big sums of money that are available for you right now. These big sums of money under third stimulus now happening with an additional cash infusion. And guess what? The big surprise is that nonprofits are picking up price tags for things we never knew possible, like refrigerators and furnaces. That's coming up in the second half of this video. Also coming up in the second half of this video is third stimulus, is the third cluster. Third cluster has a lot of incredible details in there. And let's get to the third cluster right now. Free school meals for all, checks. Tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, then checks for workers like independent contractors, checks for Medicare expansion, checks for seniors like low eligibility age, and checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. I'll explain a little bit more how those checks work in the second half of this video. Then we'll be cutting back to those IRS MSCs and the world exclusive. You're hearing Justin's recording. I'll go more into detail what's happening. And then, of course, the big money available right now under third stimulus as another $13 billion of cash infusions happening. Boy, the toast is toasting and butter is buttering big time. The morning's LA broadcast continues in 60 seconds. I'll see you in just a second. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LA, live from Santa Monica, as every one of the senators that viewers have contacted are talking about a monthly stimulus check. It's incredible details, as viewers have now been picking up the phone and calling Warren, Casey, AOC on the House side, and then we have Sanders, Schumer, and also Coons. The incredible details in the second half of this video. Then we cut to the big money as we go to third cluster and why some of these checks are automatic. We'll be cutting back to the surprise of fifth stimulus, and then, of course, the exciting details of third stimulus as an additional $13 billion of cash infusion is landing. It's a huge morning because you're making history, and this is Mornings LA. Subscribe. I want you to be part of this incredible family. Hit the subscribe button. We're making history, and yes, the last 5 days have been the biggest 5 days of this channel in nearly 3 months, because what we're doing as a family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Meantime, join me on next on Mornings Crypto at 10 a.m. and then noontime at 11 a.m. both live from Santa Monica. Let's cut to the big surprise that no one saw coming when the President of the United States announced there's an additional $13 billion for you. Excuse me? Yes. Janet Yellen, your Treasury Secretary, announced this week that there's an extra $13 billion going out to your cities, counties, and states for you for rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance. This is huge. So if you're in one of those places where you reached out to them over the last few months and they said, sorry, we're out of money, guess what? No longer, because they're getting a whopping $13 billion for every county and state allocated across the country. Let's go over the big sums of money right now, and I want to show you how the numbers have literally gone up double in the last few weeks. Mike, Dee, Monica, and Mark's neighbor got big sums of money, but I want to start with Jen. Jen is a viewer who sent us a message on Thursday, and she got nearly $40,000 of rent from this channel. This is a big move, Purple Power, because look at the numbers on rent a month ago. We're at 20,000. Now we're going up to 40,000. We have several viewers, including Mark's neighbor, who got over $30,000 for rent. Then when we turn to utilities, we're at $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month ago. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. We have a lot of viewers getting over $10,000 for utilities. Then when we turn to Snap, we have viewers getting over $21,000, like Mark's brother-in-law. Get a pen, paper, cell phone ready. I'm going to go over all these big sums of money for you starting right now. Today is your day. First, I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. Each place has different eligibility. If one says no, reach out to the next. Listen to the keywords I say in this video. And third, I have a big surprise on other places to get the money. All right, ready? You're going to reach out to the following 6 places. All 6, not one of 6, but 6 of 6. Here you go. Your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, and your state housing authority. Let's say that again. Your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. And your state hall, and your state housing authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage, or utility assistance because of COVID. There you go. Now, here is the big shocker, is that if you reach out to all 6 before, and in a rare circumstance they said, sorry, we just ran out of money, then pick up that phone again and call them again, all 6, and tell them, I learned that there's additional $13 billion coming from Treasury to you. Have you got to the money yet? If they say no, then say, can I be on the waiting list? You want to pounce first, because as soon as the money comes, it will be used up very quickly. Also, just call them day in, day out to make sure they haven't gotten the money. That's what Kevin Lee, a longtime viewer of this channel, did in the middle of the pandemic in spring last year. He heard Dallas had money. He picked up the phone. He applied. Within 3 days, the money was gone. Next, contact all your utility companies, because if you have 5 utility companies, they can all pick up the tab for those as well. Utility assistance because of COVID. And then the big shocker, the nonprofits. The nonprofits were covered extensively on this channel in fall of 2020 and spring of 2021, when the federal government at that time was not paying a lot of money for rent. I said reach out to them. About 4 days ago, I brought them back into the mix of this channel, not knowing whether they're still paying or not. Oh, yes, they are. That has been the big surprise. Here are the 5 nonprofits. Write them down. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Let's say that again. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. They often pick up for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and they sometimes pick up for other items. Here's what's happened the last 2 days. One viewer said, my goodness, LA, as soon as you mentioned United Way, I never thought of them. I picked up the phone. They said no one's been calling for rent. I'm first in line. And they say I'm going to get approved. Incredible. Then another viewer overnight said to me, I contacted one of them and I'm getting a new furnace, a new refrigerator, and they're fixing my broken glass of my window. Absolutely incredible. Let's cut to that big money for utilities and that big money for Snap. Snap you get from Department of Agriculture. Pick up the phone and get it. And yes, Mark's brother-in-law gained $21,000, but now will be sitting on top of $26,000. What's going on? Everyone's benefits are going up an average of 25% lifetime automatically starting in October. Nationwide. Let me explain the 2 letters you'll be getting. You'll be getting one letter from Snap that says the prior lift is over, because it is. That was the one that was done by the presidents that ran out a few weeks ago. Then you'll get another letter saying you're getting a new lift, and that lift is automatic. Then unemployment benefits, yes. If you paid unemployment, if you got an excess of unemployment benefits from your state and then were ordered to return it back to the computer error, they're coming back to you. Federal government has ordered it back. Average payment is about $2,000 to $5,000 for viewers of this channel. And then finally, the refund check from IRS, yes. If you paid taxes on your 2020 unemployment benefits, you're getting a refund check back of that. That average payment is about $1,200 to about $2,000. Margaret got it, Cog got it, Michael got it, and it's coming by direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. You can track it on irs.gov 70% of the time by doing a transcript search. And there you go. That is the big money under third stimulus. If you've gotten any of these sums of money, post it in the live chat and inspire people to pick up the phone because these big sums of money are there. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video with the big details, and we're going to start with the continuation of that third cluster. This is the one the president wants, and we're going to go back to that third cluster and why some of the items are totally automatic. Free internet, absolutely automatic. How does this work? Well, the federal government is going to give money to the cities so that they can launch their own internet company and provide you free internet. All you have to do is say, I'm a resident, prove you're a resident there, and then they give you the username and password for the Wi-Fi. For the prescription medication, completely automatic. You'd see an instant savings in your wallet. Let's say you go to the pharmacy on Monday, pay for a prescription, it's $30. This becomes law. They slash the prices for prescription medications. Then when you go for a refill a week later, you pay a fraction of the price. Let's say it's $5. Suddenly a savings of $25 in your wallet in just a week. Huge. And with that, let's cut back to the big details that have now happened with Wyden, Sanders, Schumer, the president, and everyone else, and we're starting with them right now. It was nearly no less than 8 weeks ago, where some people, like one person who actually was in the live chat just a second ago, saying, I haven't heard about this. And I said, who cares if you haven't heard it? Tell them about it. Pick up the phone and advocate for a stimulus check. 8 weeks ago, I told people to pick up the phone and advocate for a stimulus check. And one of the great viewers of this channel, WR, did. He picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, Joe Biden's oldest confidant, that's COONS, and said, I want to tell you why I need a stimulus check. I want to tell you why I need a monthly stimulus check. This is what's going on in my family, my home, and everything. And what did they say? They said, yes, Senator Chris Coons is putting a monthly forced stimulus check in the forced stimulus recon. And there you go. That is a world exclusive. This is what we do. We advocate. But it became more obvious about 3 weeks ago. Now remember, one of the most important people in this entire equation is the budget chairmen. There's the House budget chairman, and then there's the Senate budget chairman. And who's the Senate budget chairman? Bernie Sanders. He's the guy who actually got the $3.5 trillion price tag. He negotiated for it. Remember, I covered on this channel where he went in asking for $7 trillion and he agreed to $3.5 trillion. Well, about 3 weeks ago, he said to broadcast media the following. Unlike prior budget chairmen in D.C., I like to get out amongst D.C. and listen to the people and hear what they have to say. Well, I said that's a call to action. He's basically saying that when he's doing the budget bill, he wants to hear from you advocating for what you want. I said at the time, advocate. Pick up the phone and advocate with Senator Sanders. Advocacy looks like this. I need a stimulus check. My family needs one. This is what's going on with my family. This is what's happening with my family, my neighbor, my community, my church, my block, my business. This is why a stimulus check, monthly stimulus check, would be so critical and so beneficial to me. I want to tell you why I need it. That's advocacy, advocating for something. Let me show you what's not advocacy. Treating someone on the other side of the phone like they're the FedEx tracking tool or the UPS tracking tool. When, where, how, who, when, isn't? No. They don't want to be treated like that. These are elected officials who came into office to try to hear people's voices and resonate with a story. You want them to get off the phone and say, wow, I just heard a conversation for this incredible story, how this stimulus check would really change this person's lives. You got to hear the story. This person was in this town and this is what's happening. They want to hear the story so they're emotionally reacting to the story. And at the time, not a lot of people made the phone call when I said this almost 4 weeks ago. Margaret did it, Brother Joshua did it, and Lynn Glenn. Brother Joshua, 2020 volunteers for the community page, made the phone call. He's a Purple Hawk, and he's a 2020 volunteer for the community page, longtime viewer. And he advocated for a stimulus check for himself, for his community, for his family, and especially for his church. And Senator Bernie Sanders' staff said yes. Senator Sanders will be doing a stimulus check. Yes, it will be monthly. Yes, it'll be 3 to 6 months. Yes, it'll be $1,000 to $1,400. But he needs to hear from you why you need it. He needs to know that he has your back on this. I said, Purple Power, we got this. And then last Monday, the floodgates opened. Viewers of this channel got the message and started picking up the phone and calling. And it started with people that made incredible calls like you and like Donnie. Donnie writes the following. I called Bernie Sanders and his secretary and they said they're doing a forced stimulus check. Here comes Donnie advocating. I said, I need it. This is why I need it. My city needs it. I need it to progress. I need it for my water. I told her everything of why I need it. And she said, yes, they're giving you a forced stimulus check. There you go. There's Donnie advocating for a stimulus check with Sanders' office and being told, yes, thank you. He is doing a stimulus check. The advocacy from this channel continued as Hurricane Tina picked up the phone and called Sanders' office and advocated. I called Bernie Sanders' office and advocated, and they said they're putting a forced stimulus check in there. Look at these incredible words that come from Carolyn Smith on Countdown Mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. She really advocates well. I called Bernie Sanders' office and I talked to the secretary. I told her, we need help. We hear people, we are losing our homes. We need help. And they're losing what they got. She said she agrees, and Bernie is putting a stimmy check in there. Then we had Yaya, who made a call to Ron Wyden's office advocating for it. And she also advocated for SS200. And the staffer said that Wyden wants to put SS200 in there. And then the floodgates opened on Monday. By Friday. By Friday, I told viewers, listen, if you contacted Sanders, then you need to contact Coons, Coons, Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, Ron Wyden, or any other Democratic senator of your state. And that is what Will did. He didn't make one phone call. He made 3. And let's hear what Elizabeth Warren's office says to Will. And you're hearing this for the first time on Mornings LA. Will says, the incredible update. I spent the day calling around to the senators. I called Bernie Sanders. I called Elizabeth Warren. I called Chuck Schumer. And all 3 of their Senate offices' secretaries confirmed a stimulus check. I explained my situation. Here's Will advocating really well, and how a forced stimulus check would make a huge impact on me. There's Will really advocating well. And I was told, yes, it's happening by all 3 offices. Then Will goes into Elizabeth Warren's office specifically. Elizabeth Warren's office asked me what kind of check I think would be sufficient. And I explained I like the American petition. That, of course, is the $2,000 a month. And they said they're on board with that. They said Senator Warren is considering $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. When I first delivered this to last night on Evenings LA, when it first came in, Bonnie was in the live chat and she said, I almost choked on my meal. I couldn't believe how incredible that message was. That is what you get when you make a phone call. Then the excitement continued with Casey's office. And I love the last sentence of Lorica. This is from Lorica. It says, I just got off the phone with Senator Casey's office. Finally, he's on the committee for aging and for pushing for lots of money for the elderly and disabled. And I talked to them and they said, yes, they are currently now, they, meaning the senators, are currently now in negotiations for the amount of the stimulus checks. Wow. That is a huge update, Lorica. And then comes this one from Paul. Paul, which you're hearing for the very first time on this channel in this recording, is the House side, AOC. Now, remember the House bill was written by Jalopal, calling for $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, pandemic plus 1 year. We also had AOC and other Democrats on the House side writing for a monthly stimulus check of $2,000. Let's pull up that old graphic. Here it is. AOC and Omar writing that they wanted $2,000 a month. Well, Will called AOC's office, spoke to AOC secretary, was told that according to the Congresswoman AOC, she wants to add monthly stimulus checks in the $3.5 trillion bill. She wants them to be $2,000 the first month and $1,000 every month thereafter for 12 months. AOC secretary assured me that they would be putting it to the bill, in the bill. Take care. Wow. There you go. This is what we are doing. This is what you're doing. Now, let's go over something that, again, is a world exclusive you're hearing just on this channel right now. It's important to understand where and when the vote happens and who goes first. I had told you a few months ago that I can exclusively report that I believe that the House Democrats are the ones who are going to author the bill. Well, you now see that I was correct again in that reporting. The House Democrats actually authored the bill. The first 645 pages is what is going to be potentially an 8,000-page bill. The House Democrats authored it after Senate Democrats and House Democrats agree upon what they went in there. But which one votes first? I'm exclusively reporting I believe that the House Democrats will vote first. This is huge because if AOC wants to add a lot of extra, wants to really beef up this issue in the House side, and Nancy, who is very good, close to AOC, agrees to it, then we're done. We're done. Yes, get it on the come, get it first on the AOC on the House side because the House would likely start first for the vote. Now, let's say for some reason the House bill needs to be fixed. This is huge because the senators go last. I'm reporting exclusively that the senators would vote last in the two-day vote-a-rama. During that two-day vote-a-rama, the senators would get the House bill, and anything they want to change, they can change. Now, senators are not, that are Democrats, are not going to remove a fellow Democrat's language. They'll add to it or increase it, increase the amount. For example, $4,000 to care for the senior, maybe want to make it $5,000. They'll increase the amount, or they'll add something in there. This is why it's huge, Purple Power. Because if you've made the push with Sanders, then now make the push with Warren, make the push with Casey, that's C-A-S-E-Y, make the push with Coons, make the push with Schumer, and make the push with Wyden. Because advocacy moves very quickly in those halls. Here is the net effect of what's going to happen. When Warren is talking with Schumer, or Warren is talking with Sanders, she's going to say, I'm getting a lot of phone calls about this. I'm getting a lot of phone calls and people giving very impassioned stories about why this would really help their lives. I'm getting, 100 phone calls a day, 20 phone calls a day, and these are incredible, great stories of people advocating for things. And the other person on the other side of the conversation is going to say, I'm getting the same phone calls. I'm getting the same phone calls. My staff says that the surge of phone calls is absolutely incredible. We have to do this. Our phone is absolutely indicative of that we have to do this. Meantime, let's cut back to fifth stimulus just very quickly. When are they going to do fifth stimulus? September. Out for a vote in about November. First, they'll raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. What is that new benchmark? Inflation. How high is it going? It's going high. I'm reporting about 5%. Let's do the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. If the benchmark is 5%, you'll go up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. They're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't have more than that, you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And then the marriage penalty is going to end. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding and marry your longtime love interest like Rob and Sandy, and no longer fear loss of benefits. Meantime, will there be a fifth stimulus check? There will be. Democrats represent that will be next year. Lastly, if you've not become a Purple Hawk, the link is in the video. There's a lot of money available for you with that new $13 billion cash infusion. All right, let's recap because I know that's a lot. Third stimulus, fifth stimulus, and fourth stimulus. Fifth stimulus, out for a vote by about November. This is the SSI reform. Raises your benefits up a lifetime. And potentially we'll also have another round of stimulus checks in there. Third stimulus, Third stimulus is the big payout. It's the money for rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance. Number one. If you've gotten money before from this channel and it's running out in a few weeks, do another round. Try to get money paid all the way into the middle of next year. If you have utilities paid for a few months, try to get some utilities paid for next year as well. Try to get extra sums of money. Number two, if you reached out to all 6 of 6 and then they said, sorry, we just ran out of money, don't worry, because that answer is now going to be a yes. Make the phone call and stay on top of them because they 100% are getting the money. Every state, every county, doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. Any state, every state is getting the money. But it's not going to be there long, so get there right away. First in line, first in time. Then, the nonprofits picking up money that we never knew possible. And for the Purple Hawks and Purple Power and members of this channel, the new daily message that goes out from this channel will include more about the nonprofits and also this cash infusion for the federal government. And then fourth stimulus. We have the first 645 pages of the whole reconciliation bill released. 645 pages of checks like hazard pay, essential workers, carry for seniors and vehicles and cars and college education, all those items in there. But those aren't the only checks in the reconciliation. That is just the first 645 pages of what could be upwards of an 8,000-page bill. We have a lot of clusters to do. I call them cluster 2 and cluster number 3. Does not mean they're going in any particular order. We have a lot of other checks they're potentially putting in there beyond even the scope of my coverage that they're putting in there as well. Once we get them all in there, that is a total bill. Start in the House, over to the Senate. Meantime, if you've pushed with Sanders and if you've advocated really well with Sanders, now advocate with Coons, advocate with Warren, Elizabeth Warren, Casey, Wyden, and Schumer. And guess what? I'm back with you next on Mornings Crypto at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then noontime, 11 a.m. live on this channel. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Shows coming up all tonight. Afternoons LA at 1, afternoons LA at 3, then evenings LA at 5. Then shows at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11:30. A show every hour on the hour starting at 5 o'clock every day on this channel. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, every like helps. And consider becoming a member so you get access to all the incredible information about this big money you can get. And with that, stay informed, stay smiling, keep pushing. And the toast was toasting, the butter was buttering, and I'll be back with you with Mornings Crypto in less than 5 minutes.